Carl Webster may be leaving Weatherfield, but before he goes, he could be about to commit his most dangerous act yet. Next on Coronation Street, Carl's long trail of destruction appears to be heading straight for Kevin Webster, and this time, the weapon may be Kevin's own car. Carl has always brought chaos with him, especially when cars are involved. This is the same man whose hit and run left Tyrone Dobbs in a wheelchair. He was also responsible for the crash that killed Billy Mayhew, before cruelly placing his mother, Debbie Webster, in the driver's seat and manipulating her into taking the blame. For a long time, Debbie was the only person still willing to defend Carl. Even when she was facing prison because of his actions, Kevin could not convince her to expose the truth. Debbie kept protecting him, partly because of guilt, partly because of love, and partly because she wanted to believe there was still something worth saving in her son. But Carl only kept taking more. After Debbie was released from prison, he continued using her kindness against her. He treated her money like it was his, behaved as though he had a right to the Chariot Square Hotel, and eventually tried to pressure her into signing over half of it to him. When Ronnie Bailey stood up to him, Carl turned the situation to his advantage by threatening to report Ronnie for assault. What makes Carl so dangerous is not just that he is selfish. It is that he knows exactly where people are weakest. With Debbie, he uses her love. With Abby, he uses her pain. With Kevin, he uses anger and resentment. Every time he feels rejected, he does not simply walk away. He looks for a way to hurt someone before he leaves. That is exactly what seems to happen after Debbie finally reaches her breaking point. After discovering that Carl had been trying to extort money from Summer Spellman by offering to reveal the truth about Billy's death, Debbie finally accepts the heartbreaking reality. Carl is not going to change. In last Thursday's episode, after he sabotaged Swerla's wedding by trashing the bridal suite, Debbie decided to cut him out of her life. She called him to the hotel, gave him an envelope of cash, and a St. Christopher's medal, a symbol traditionally given to someone going on a journey. In other words, it was Debbie's quiet but firm way of telling him to leave Weatherfield for good. Carl took the money and tried to act like he did not care, but his face told a different story. For all his arrogance, being rejected by Debbie clearly hit him harder than he wanted to admit. And that is what makes the next part so worrying. Carl is wounded, humiliated, and looking for someone to blame. Before he disappears, he starts settling scores with the people he believes have crossed him. Abby, Tyrone, and Kevin all end up in his firing line. Then, after receiving a text from Kevin that leaves him furious, Carl takes things to a horrifying new level. While in the garage, he secretly tampers with the brakes on Kevin's car. This is not just another petty act of revenge. It feels calculated. Carl knows cars. He knows what damaged brakes can do. And considering everything he has already done, there is every reason to fear that Kevin could be placed in serious danger. Psychologically, Carl seems like someone who cannot handle rejection without turning it into punishment. Debbie finally choosing herself over him strips away the one safety net he had left. Instead of feeling regret, Carl appears to redirect that pain into revenge. Kevin becomes the perfect target because he represents everything Carl resents: family judgment, moral pressure, and the life Carl has failed to control. The big question now is whether anyone will discover what Carl has done before Kevin gets behind the wheel. With Carl already named as one of the possible victims in Coronation Street's upcoming whodunit mystery, this latest act may also be setting up his own downfall. The more enemies he creates, the harder it becomes to imagine him leaving Weatherfield quietly. And if Kevin is harmed because of Carl's brake tampering, then Debbie's decision to send him away may come too late to stop the damage. Carl may think he is tying up loose ends, but this could be the move that finally turns everyone against him. Will Kevin survive Carl's latest betrayal? And will Carl be exposed before it is too late? Subscribe for more Coronation Street updates and the latest soap spoilers.